What a difference a day makes, eh? Yesterday we were basking in the warmest temperatures of the year so far. However, just a few hours later, it's plummeted again. That's the British weather, and that's why we talk about it so much. However, the fishing show continues. Hear the gulls? Sounds like I'm at the seaside, doesn't it? I'm not though. I'm in the heart of England and I'm fishing a small brook in pursuit of three-spined sticklebacks. A nice thud on the rod tip there. I struck and there's the result. As you can see from the screen, they do take the hook, although some of them, especially the smaller ones, basically hang on to the maggot and you have to snatch them from the water before they drop off. Let's weigh this one. It must be, well, it's over 2. I would say maybe 2.5, possibly even more. Wow, 3.3. I do sell myself short, don't I? Anglers are renowned for exaggerating. I'm going the opposite way. 3.3, great fish. This one is much bigger, easily a 4. Could it be my best stickleback of the year, 4.5? Could be above that, I think. Let's find out. Let's go for 5 grams plus, shall we, for this one? Yes, 5.4. What a monster. Don't forget that the British record's only 8 grams. That is a specimen indeed. That's the smallest so far, and even that's a good fish. This one is easily 2 grams, possibly 3, I'm not sure. I would say high 2. 2.9. I got that one right for a change. It's a very simple setup. Poacher's pocket, mini rod and reel, that's telescopic. Perfect for this type of angling. In fact, you wouldn't be able to get a conventional rod in here. You couldn't even get a chair in there to sit down, so it's not the sort of place where you go and set up in the way that you normally would. I'm just sitting on the ground. That's what I do in these type of venues. The line, I've nipped on a small shot, very small shot, just to get it down to the bed of the brook. And then, well, that one needs to be replaced because it's just been mashed by a fish. A maggot on a size 16 hook, and I've gone for that because if you think sticklebacks, they're small, you need a really small hook, then there's more chance of them swallowing it. Whereas I'm finding with a 16, because these fish aren't fished for, they're not wised up in the way that you think carp especially do become. So that actually, although it seems like a big hook for a tiny fish, is a great way of making sure that you don't get deep hooked sticklebacks, which you would if you went for a tiny hook, and that's the last thing that you want. Another one that's hooked fair and square there. I don't know if you enjoy the mini species or sticklebacks in particular, but I actually love them. 3.2. 3 on the dot. Go on, turn around for your video. There you go. They look great, don't they? I think they're wonderful fish. A small stickleback suddenly decided to come alive. But what I was going to show is that it was holding on to the maggot. It's trying to disappear up my sleeve there, but it's going back into the water where it belongs. And then you get the bigger fish. They actually get hooked fair and square. But I always strike early because, as I've mentioned already, I don't want any deep hooked fish at all. I would sooner lose them rather than have those issues when they swallow the hook, especially with a fish this small. When I say striking, you do actually get bites. Obviously everything is much more sensitive and fined down compared to other types of fishing, but watch the rod tip, and perhaps more importantly, when you're stickleback fishing in a situation like this, it's the line as well. So keep it just tight enough so that you don't miss any bites, but a slight amount of slack. So that's what you're talking about there, really fine margins, so that even if the line tightens slightly or moves slightly, you know you've got a fish and you can strike into it. I'm on a small brook, obviously, I've mentioned that already. Very, very shallow for 95%, 99% of its length, because I'm quite close to the source. But then on the bends, it's a watercraft, isn't it? It's not rocket science, it's watercraft. On the bends, slightly deeper, so you get water that might be 6 inches deep, 8 inches deep, sometimes a little bit more, where it's been eroded over the years, and that's where the fish will be. So they aren't evenly spread, but they are in the pockets. And it's going slow now. You can fish, as I often do, maybe, well, depends where you are, because I do fish different brooks, and it depends where you are in terms of how many pockets of fish you've got. On this one in particular, not many at all. They are concentrated because I'm close to the source, so it's very, very shallow indeed. Great fun though, isn't it? What a fantastic session that was. I really enjoyed it. It's that time of the week when I talk about it as well, because I'm doing my weekly chat with Jeff Pearson for his afternoon show on Bayside Radio, based in Colwyn Bay, and we talk fishing. If you can't be out there at the water's edge, the next best thing is to chat about it. And as far as the river season's concerned, or flowing water season to be more precise, and in reference to this morning's session, 1 down, 4 to go. I'm waiting for Jeff, and Dilwyn has just come back from his morning walk. Was it good, Dilwyn? Was it good? I very rarely see that type of thing going on today, Jeff. As you say, when we were younger, a jam jar, string around the top, and you would hold it, wouldn't you? And you'd have a net and you'd go and catch sticklebacks, or maybe other fish as well, depending on what brook or what pool or pond you were on in your vicinity. But I don't think it's as popular today. Pond dipping is something that a few people do, but maybe not so many. But when I was younger, yeah, it was certainly very, very popular indeed. And I think that's how we developed, I certainly did, my love of the natural world by getting out there and enjoying the great outdoors and becoming very interested and curious about some of the things that were out there. And of course, in my particular case, I still follow the nature thing through today, but also as well, what we're talking about today, of course, on radio, fishing.